Hoops Week is back in 2027 and it's set to be bigger than ever. Hoops Fest is returning to Perth in January and is locked in for the next 2 years thanks to Virgin Australia. That means 10 games across 5 massive days at RAC Arena, featuring all 19 NBL and WNBL teams, with the game's biggest names coming together in one place in Western Australia. With the opening game tipping off on a Wednesday night, Hoops Fest 2027 starts earlier than ever before. Off the court, the fan zone will light up the city centre while Sneakerland returns to RAC Arena. So lock in your flights with Virgin Australia now, because from the 13th of January there'll be more teams, more games and even more happening at Hoops Fest Perth.
It's been 6 months and 3 days since the final throwdown of NBL 26 on the last day of the regular season. On that day, it was a 95-91 United win, but it was the Phoenix that ultimately advanced to the playoffs, where they lost in Game 3 of the semi-finals. Now it's a new season and both teams have a refreshed look about them. As the preseason rolls on, we continue to find out more about how each team stacks up, and that will continue into the Blitz starting in less than 2 weeks in Bendigo. But tonight, as has become tradition, it's a pre-season throwdown here in Melbourne's heartland, the State Basketball Centre. Tom Hirsch with you once again, and tonight I'm joined in commentary by a voice many will be familiar with and may even miss a little bit on NBL broadcasts. You know him as the GM of the NBL Next Stars program. I know him as a good friend. Welcome, Liam Santamaria.
Evening, Hershey. Great to be with you, and great to be in the building. Good buzz in here at the State Basketball Centre for the pre-season throwdown. There have been some really good editions of this event over the last few years, so excited for this one ahead.
Absolutely, and great to sit alongside you, Liam. And just as you said, last year United came from 22 down in this pre-season throwdown to win by 6. The year before, they went to double overtime until they settled it, with United ultimately winning 121 to 120. So I imagine we're in for another great show tonight. Both teams not quite at full strength, but pretty close, to be honest. So let's start firstly with the Melbourne United side. The one big name that's still not with the team in terms of suiting up tonight is Cole Anthony, their new import. He just arrived this week, had a couple of practices under his belt this week, but obviously not quite ready to ramp up into full game action. But Liam, what are you excited about with Cole Anthony coming to the NBL, and especially for this United refreshed team?
Great pedigree. Obviously, 15th pick just 5 years ago in the NBA draft, a guy we've seen get it done at that NBA level. So coming in here at, just 26 years of age, plays an exciting brand of basketball. So shame we're not going to see him tonight, but we've got a whole season ahead of Cole Anthony in Melbourne United colours. And look, I really like this roster that they've put together. Obviously, Jacob Chan's first year at the helm. But, the way they've gone about constructing the roster, I really like the roster. And then they added Luke Travers. And to me, that was the piece that I think has put them into that upper echelon as we head towards the start of the regular season.
You talk about the addition of Luke Travers, that caught many by surprise. And then they've also added Sam Wardenberg, Joe Ingles. You talk about the coaching change this year with Jacob Chance, Josh Aduro, the new man in the middle for them. A lot of people are calling this team the preseason favourites. How do you see it at the moment? I know there's still a few things to shake out across the league, but how do you see them stacking up right now?
Look, it's so early. We're just starting to get a look at some of these import players, who's going to translate their game well into the league. So it's really hard to tell, but on paper, they've got a lot of talent. And look, that's something we're used to, right? Melbourne United coming into the start of pre-season with everybody talking about how they're the team to beat. And some years it works out that way, some years it doesn't. But once again, on paper, they've got a lot of talent.
One player on the United side that no one's talking about now, but maybe they should be, is Chris Golding. Coming off a very injury-plagued season last year, a down year for him, but All-NBL second team the year before. He's healthy coming into the season this year, which he wasn't last year. How do you see him kind of elevating from what he was able to do last year, especially amongst this lineup?
I'm fascinated to see whether his role changes a little bit. He didn't have a great year last year. 37% from the field, just 30% from three. We know he hits big shots, but he just didn't have that same consistent impact that we're used to seeing. So under Jacob Chance, do they pare that back a little bit, run more actions for other guys? Fascinated to see, and we're going to get a first little look at that tonight.
Absolutely. Turning our attention now to the home side, the Phoenix, now in their third season under Josh King. They've also retooled a little bit this season with 3 new imports. headlined probably by Skylar Mays. We're only going to see one of them tonight in Deshaun Schwartz. Skylar Mays and Giannis Morin not yet ready to take the floor. But they've also added some local depth in Tanner Krebs, Hunter Goodrick, coming off that championship with the Sydney Kings. And the other big move was securing your next star, Dash Daniels, in his second season of the program. Let's start there. What were some of the factors that kind of went into Dash firstly deciding to leave United and then deciding that Phoenix and Josh King's system was the best fit for him?
It was probably more about the latter than anything else, more about looking across town and saying, you know what, I want to play for Josh King. The way that his teams get up the floor defensively, and not just with one or maybe two guys, but their defensive scheme is about 94 feet of pressure. That fits with what Dash likes to do, and then the freedom that guys have offensively, the way the ball moves for the Phoenix and everybody gets involved. So he's really enjoying being in the heartland in the early parts of pre-season and excited for the year ahead.
Well, we'll come back to Tanner Krebs as the game gets underway because I'm really intrigued as to what sort of role he's going to have for the Phoenix this year. As we got to look at the starters for the Phoenix. Firstly, Foster, Glover in the backcourt with Krebs, Schwartz and Geordie Hunter up front. And then for United, a familiar backcourt in Shaylee, Chris Golding. Luke Travers will play the three with Sam Wardenberg and Josh Aduro, the new import, manning the middle. And we are just about to get underway here at not quite a sold out, but a very full State Basketball Centre. Hunter and Aduro will tip us off in just a moment. And it's United who controls the opening tip, wearing the blue, going to the left of your screen. Phoenix, of course, in their black and green. Illy to Travers, and Travers straight down the lane for the early bucket.
He's going to be so good in that role this year, Luke Travers, that middle pick and roll, short roll playmaker, gets right to the rim.
Schwartz a bit locked up there, finds Glover eventually. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Hunter with that extended range that we saw so much last season. Couldn't connect that time. And here's Travers ripping and going. And I think we're going to see a lot of that this year, Liam. Travers gets the high screen from Maduro. Wardenberg with the up fake gets to the free throw line. And Krebs secures the rebound for the Phoenix. Foster, Krebs from deep. A little short that time. Foster with another chance. And Krebs tries to get a little fancy and Travers picks it off. And here's United out and running. An easy one for Sam Wardenberg, and he gets the foul as well. Nice kick ahead from Shaylee that time.
Great find from Shaylee. Sam Wardenberg running that middle lane, and the push to the ball, very nice for Melbourne United. And down the other end, a little clunky offensively for the Phoenix these first couple of possessions.
Foul was called on Deshaun Schwartz. Wardenberg completes the three-point play. Seeing some early full-court man here from United. Travers making life very difficult for Dan Foster. Just does beat that 8-second count. And there's the pressure. Great hands from Maduro, and Travers comes up with it. Wardenberg tries to throw it back, but a little out of control. Phoenix now looking to push the other way. Schwartz with the up fake. Wide open now from three. Couldn't get it to go, and the ball's going to go back to United.
It's his game, though, Deshaun Schwartz. It's been interesting to see the Phoenix and their recruitment of imports, bringing in a bunch of guys with all kinds of international experience. Schwartz having played plenty in Europe. He's been knocking that three ball down.
Golding wide open from Illy. And Dan Foster secures the defensive board. Foster thrust into a point guard role tonight. Can play a bit of that as he takes the straightaway three and knocks it down. First bucket for the home side. Not necessarily a pure point guard, Foster, but certainly does play that position. Krebs to Glover. Good straight up and down defense from Shaylee. Golding with a quick release from the corner, but no good. Glover working on the wing. Schwartz connects this time, his second try. 1 out of 2 now from long range, and the Phoenix take the lead 6-5.
A little rangefinder a couple of possessions ago, and there Schwartz and the pressure in the backcourt. Able to get his hands on the rock, but the officials calling the foul. But and a tee, an early tee for Josh King in pre-season.
Wow. He's in regular season form, I guess.
Well, he's shaved the beard. He's come in looking a few years younger, but no less intense and enthusiastic on the sideline.
It's interesting to me because against St Mary's and B-League United, he spent more time sitting down than I've ever seen before in my life. And tonight, against an NBL opponent, he's up and about.
Well, it's not just an NBL opponent, is it? As Chris Golding steps to the free throw line, knocks down the technical free throw. This is a rivalry. This is the crosstown rivalry, one of the best rivalries in the NBL. Now, for a lot of these guys on the floor and in this game, it's their first taste of this. Sam Wardenberg, Deshaun Schwartz, Aduro, a lot of these guys just learning what this rivalry is about. But Josh King's familiar with it, and he's up and about.
Tom Wilson just checked in for Chris Golding. First sub of the night. By the way, that personal foul was on Schwartz, so that's 2 on him already here in the first quarter in the opening minutes. Wilson had a very strong season in the NBL 1 again for Melbourne Tigers. Illy and Wardenberg just not quite on the same page, and that's going to happen in pre-season. New teammates. I'm interested, Liam, to get your take. Sam Wardenberg, an exceptional talent. Obviously had a lot of struggles with injury last year, makes the decision to come down south. What are you expecting from him this season, and what is a good year for him going to look like?
I think he's going to have a really big year. I think he's a really good fit on this team. That 4 spot for Melbourne United, now it will be interesting to see how different it is under Jacob Chance, but in the Dean Vickerman system, it's been such a crucial connective piece. You've seen guys like Jack White and Finn Delaney and the like play through that position, and Sam Wardenberg so versatile at both ends of the floor.
Glover can't connect that time, but Foster picks up the O-board.
Between he and Travers, I think they've just got a lot of talent that they can move through that spot.
And we've got a foul on Shea Ilya that'll send Angus Glover to line. And a lot of people are talking about the versatility of this United roster, that a lot of guys can play multiple positions. Travers can play probably 2 through 5. Wardenberg can play 4 and 5. Joe Ingles, who's about to check in, can play pretty much anywhere on the floor these days. And the crowd gives him a really nice ovation as he replaces Aduro, and Illy will also take a seat. Fab Krislovich checks in for his first action too.
Well, let's just take that moment to appreciate the fact Joe Ingles checking in. Obviously, not his first preseason hit out as Angus Glover knocks down the freebie, but this is just great to see.
Yeah.
We for a long time we hoped that golden age of boomers would return through the NBL at the end of their career. And, we saw it, of course, with Andrew Bogut and, then Matthew Dellavedova. You see Aaron Baines come in, and the hope was that Joe and Paddy, as Glover steals it.
Ooh, this is what he should have made.
The hope was that Joe and Paddy would make their way through the league. Now, we'll wait and see for Paddy Mills, but great to have Joe Ingles in NBL uniform.
Travers goes right at Angus Glover and gets to the cup for an easy 2. We're tied up at 8. And you're right, Ingles played in that game against B-League United the other week, but it was pretty much behind closed doors. No one really got a chance. The first real opportunity is Foster with a little runner. First real opportunity for some of the United fans to get a live look at Ingles in that Melbourne blue.
That's one of the things I like about Daniel Foster's game is he never feels sped up. Blown by right there defensively, which Josh King will not enjoy. But offensively, just plays with a level of poise beyond his experience.
Foul's called on Wardenberg. A little too handsy there against Schwartz. Second team foul on United as Akecha Lear checks in along with Dash Daniels and Hunter Goodrick as well.
course, first time going up against his former team for Dash.
Absolutely.
18-year-old. He's got Joe Ingles as the matchup.
Kyle Bowen coming in for Sam Wardenberg as well, so a lot of substitutions here early. One thing that was evident to me, and you'll know way better than me, but one thing that was evident last week with Daniels against St. Mary's is he just looks a bit stronger up top and a lot more confident with ball in hand getting to the bucket as we see him try the 3-ball early. That's a tad short, and Goodrick gets to work on the O-boards and earns himself a trip to the free throw line.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's taller, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's more confident. He had a tremendous off-season Dash working out with Wes Matthews, NBA veteran, a 3-and-D guy working on his all different elements of his game. And, he's coming in full of confidence. You saw his attack on the rim last week against the Marys, and right there, first catch. Joe Ingles playing him, giving with a little bit of a gap, and he rises up and shoots that thing with confidence. So I think there's a big year ahead for Dash Daniels.
Couldn't agree more. Goodrick coming off an NBL 1 East championship with the North Bears, where he was teammates with Fad Krizlovic. Kyle Bowen bringing the ball up for United. And good pressure from Alier. Knocked it away, not a double dribble. Shot clock down to 10 now. Krizlovic got to go. And good strong take from Fad Krizlovic. And he's another player that probably had a down year from expectations last year, and spent the off-season continuing to work on his game in the NBL 1 as Davidson can't connect. And another good, solid depth piece up front here for United that can play a couple of different positions, 4 and 5, really.
And no doubt. They got Bowen, who can't finish
there.
there.
Pins that one to the backboard, and Dash pushing it the other way. Great play by Aketchalier. Glover now. Davidson can't connect. Goodrick no good on the follow, and Ingles introduces himself to Sam Davidson. Here's Wilson. Knocks it down with confidence.
So the ball movement's nice from Melbourne United. In transition, the push of the ball, the extra pass. Yeah, they've missed a couple of open ones in this first quarter, but they're generating really good looks through making the extra pass.
Do you think that's going to be a staple of the way they play this year with so many good kind of facilitators and passers on this team? You speak of Travers, Ingles, obviously you're going to have Cole Anthony, Illy, Tom Wilson potentially as a depth piece, but all these guys are good at moving the ball and getting others involved.
It's a good point. I think, ideally, that's what they'd be looking for. Joe Ingles, Luke Travers, a bunch of guys, connective pieces who can move the ball.
Daniels from the corner. Travers pulls it down.
What's going to be interesting is what that looks like when Cole Anthony's in the lineup. Does that change things in terms of the ball movement?
Travers, you see it right there, finding Kyle Bowen for the easy 2. And Luke Travers, you said at the outset one of the players you're probably most excited to see in this United team. I don't think everyone realises how much he's improved in the last couple of years being with that Cleveland Cavaliers organisation. Splitting time between the Cavs and their G League team, the Cleveland Charge. But he had a lot of responsibility on that G League roster and really acquitted himself quite strongly over there. And Travers almost on cue. Can't get it to go. Here's Glover now. Goodrick cut off. He's got Daniels down low. Kicks it back out to Glover. Shot clock down to 6. Phoenix got to go quickly. Glover just pulls up from very deep. Unable to get it to fall. United looking to set up again now the other end through the hands of Tom Wilson. Ingles with the drive. Gets that signature left hand, but can't get it to fall. Goodrick now in the corner. Daniels wide open again. A little short. How do you see that 3-ball of Dash improving from last year to this year? And we've seen some early looks tonight as Alier also can't get it to go. Is that going to be a bit improved from what we saw last year as Davidson knocks one down?
Oh, look, constant improvement, I think, is the name of the game. He shot 38% from long range across the season last year. Now, it wasn't at a high volume, was just taking the open ones for the most part. But, I think my message, his Wes Matthews' message, I think Josh King and the coaching staff, his teammates, shoot that thing with confidence.
Yep.
Let that thing fly. A lot of open looks for the Phoenix these last couple of possessions. And, Dash had a couple. He's just got to shoot that thing with confidence because he can knock it down.
Jensen Bradkey, the unfamiliar territory with ball handling duties to help out that time. Ingles to Aduro, and he gets the foul called against Akechalier. Nice little two-man action there between Ingles and Aduro. And one thing about Joe Ingles in pick and rolls, he's going to make the right decision.
And he's going to take his time doing it. Slow-mo Joe, in effect, these last few possessions. And look, I think that's going to have a good influence on the rest of the roster, right? Like, don't be in a rush. Play at your own pace. Make good decisions. Luke Travers, very similar. And put the ball in the hands of those kinds of players and good things will happen.
If you're Josh Aduro, someone, had a cup of coffee with the NBA last year, 3 games with the Pelicans, obviously trying to have a good solid year here and see what happens in future, you've got to love that you're playing with some of these guys like Ingles and Cole Anthony and even experienced guards like Shaley. Great for a young big man to help develop his game and just get some shots in the right spot, have a good impact. Golding gets that left hand, sold some candy on the way through the paint. United by 6. A minute to go here in this first period. Here's Daniels. Doesn't get the call, but wins the ball back. Alier from the top. It's a little strong. Another chance here for the Phoenix. Alier going at Jensen Bradkey. Good straight up and down defense from Bradkey. He's coming off a strong season with Gold Coast up in the NBL 1 North. Ingles. Back to Aduro now, down low. Working on Deshaun Schwartz. Daniels comes to double team and we've got a foul, and that's against Schwartz. That's going to be number 3.
You've got to look at the strength of Schwartz there defensively. Ended up picking up the personal. The third one, as you mentioned, he's going to check out for this final possession, but strong in the block there. Mismatched against Aduro, holding his position.
13.3 on the clock. Shot clock's turned off here now for United. Clock had not started running, so we will reset it and do that again. Ely. All the way in, kicks it to Bradkey. Golding now, tough, contested shot, and he knocks it down. Well, I'm not sure Daniels and Goodrick could have defended that any better, and Golding said, I don't mind, I'm still going to make it.
That's tough. Quintessential Chris Golding there to end the quarter. Heads up play from young Jensen Bradkey, too. Had one of the greatest shooters in NBL history alongside him. Quick shuffle pass, and Golding hits the off-balance 3, and Melbourne United strong last few minutes of that quarter, building a 9-point lead, and after what was a rough quarter offensively for the home team.
Yeah, just 17% from the field, just 4 of 23 there. Just the 1 3-pointer made on 11 tries. Sorry, that's 2-pointers, 3 triples on 12 tries. I guess to be down by 9, take away that last 3 ball on the buzzer, it's not awful considering how much they've struggled offensively, but I think Phoenix considering they've played a couple of preseason games already and certainly one more than United, I'm a little surprised at how much they're struggling tonight to move the ball.
Well, they just didn't generate a lot of easy baskets at the rim. That's why things were a little bit tough for them offensively. Credit Melbourne United. Not surprising to see them at a high level defensively early in the preseason, something we see year after year from that organisation. But they did get a lot of open looks from long range, the Phoenix, and they just could not knock them down. As you say, 3 of 12 from three-point territory. Meanwhile, Melbourne United, a lot at the rim, and then when they got open from long range, including that last one from Chris Golding, they knocked a couple down.
7 assists on their 9 made field goals for Melbourne United, so they are certainly moving the ball really well. You see Illy and Travers there with 2 dimes apiece. What do the Phoenix need to do to get things a little bit more in sync here in this second quarter, Liam?
Well, they haven't been able to get their defensive pressure on top of the game. Obviously, missing some really key pieces to what they're going to be doing offensively, right? Nathan Sobey, Skylar Mays in particular. Those two are going to have the ball a lot and be very aggressive and put points on the board. But without those kind of guys and the style that Josh King plays, you got to force turnovers. The whole idea is to make the opponents feel uncomfortable, and I'm not sure Melbourne United players felt all that uncomfortable in that first quarter.
Yeah, great point. We'll see if the Phoenix adjust here. Deng Dut comes into the game for the Phoenix. They're going to have the ball first. We've got Dut, Daniels, Krebs, Hunter Goodrick and Geordie Hunter. And then Illy, Ingles, Golding, Wardenberg and Aduro for United. And then Illy able to get hands on it and knock it off Dut last. That ball's going to go back to Melbourne. Well, so not an ideal start for the Phoenix.
Deng Dut's got Shea Illy wrapped all over him. Not a comfortable place to be for a young guy trying to earn himself a roster spot. And we've seen that so many times before. Shea Illy blowing up the dribble handoff.
Ingles, Golding from the top. And Aduro tried to crash the O-boards but couldn't quite corral it. The ball will go back to southeast Melbourne. Here's Daniels, guarded by Ingles. Probably the youngest and the oldest player on the court, guarding each other. Daniels goes at him and Ingles tries to get in front but reaches. So score that as a little win for Dash, I guess. Foul on Joe. Just his first. And Daniels will go to the free throw line for a pair.
I like that from Dash Daniels. He's trying to get his flow going offensively. Joe obviously giving him looks from long range there. Dash putting some heat on the rim and challenging Ingles and the officials. I'd like to see him try to get downhill a little bit in the full court. He's the pressure release pass there in the backcourt, and he's got Joe Ingles in front of him. Put the afterburners on, attack the veteran, get downhill.
No good from the free throw line. Illy looking to go all the way, but we've got a reach-in foul. That foul is called on Daniels, and it's going to be 2 shots to Shea Illy. And good push by Illy there.
Well, that's a little bit of what I'm talking about. Okay, it's a set defense, but challenge him. Get downhill. Put some pressure on the defense. Here, Illy earns a trip to the free throw line.
Illy only played the 12 games last year, obviously missing a lot of time due to injury. Did shoot 83% at the charity stripe, though, in NBL 26. It's always been very solid and reliable from there. Daniels again initiating the offense for the Phoenix. Wardenberg cuts him off. Shot clock down to 6 now. Hunter with the up fake, got to go.
Oh, wow.
Aduro got a piece of it. That offense was going nowhere, and Ingles, the kick ahead to Aduro, and Geordie Hunter breaks it up, and ball's going to go back to the Phoenix. A heads-up play from Hunter there. That offensive set was not very pretty. Though,
they were trying to work their way through. They had the advantage, but they couldn't work it. I'd love to see Geordie Hunter get back to rolling to the rim a little more. We know he shot so well from three-point territory last season, and there's Dash Daniels bodying Joe Ingles to the floor.
Good strong take from Dash. That's where he's at his best. And Wardenberg coming back the other way. Nice little dump off to Aduro. He gets the easy two. Daniels now pushing again in transition. Krebs in the corner. Still can't get it to go. Willie's going to reset them. Great roll from Aduro. Great find from Illy, and we got our first dunk of the game. And I think that's going to be Josh Aduro's role this year. No pun intended, but that high pick and roll action, with so many willing playmakers as we spoke about, if he rolls to the right spots, he's going to get a lot of easy looks like that through the course of this season. Hunter, some fresh air on that one. And Ingles finds Aduro again and couldn't quite get that one to fall. Golding getting called for the foul, trying to slow down Dash Daniels.
They dodged the bullet there, the Phoenix in transition. Great find from Ingles, and Aduro missed a bunny. In the previous possession, it was Hunter firing away from long range again. You're talking about, where guys are at their best. A couple of years ago, Sydney, Geordie Hunter, his first year at Southeast Melbourne as well, he was one of, if not the best, pick and roll bigs in the league. One of the best threats rolling to the rim off that dribble handoff or pick and roll action. And I just get the feeling like maybe he's lost a little bit of that as he's turned himself into a little bit more of a pick and pop threat.
Yeah, it's a good point. Maduro, shot clock down to 6. Lets it fly from the mid-range. And Goodrick cleans it up. Goodrick puts the spin moves on, hits Krebs in the corner, and he finally gets one to go.
Nice from Krebs. No dip three. Quick release. Knocks it down from the corner.
First bucket of the night for Tanner Krebs. Aduro again with the goal. Oh, Geordie Hunter sends it away. I thought Aduro had an easy one there. Great weak side help from Hunter.
That's what you want from the big fella. Come across from the weak side and protect the rim.
Let's talk about Tanner Krebs for a moment. Made the move from United across town to the Phoenix. There's some talk that maybe he's going to start at the 3 spot this year. Not quite sure how that's going to play out. What do you see his role and what do you think was behind his move this season as Glover can't connect from deep?
It's a good question. I thought he was growing quite nicely there at Melbourne United. As Illy can't hit from the corner, cleans up his own mess, and one finish at the rim.
Follow there from Illy.
A couple of Phoenix players leaking out in transition, but the team had not secured the ball.
Krebs had a lot of opportunity at United last year, and when Golding was out with injury, and then even when he came back, Krebs continued to start for a large portion of the season.
Sure. Yeah, look, maybe he got a sense, hey, Chris is going to be healthy again. Shea's going to be healthy again. He saw down the line guys like, maybe Ingles and Travers and these types coming into the roster, and he thought, maybe I need something different. I always think Tanner Krebs has been a little underrated in this league since he came in from St Mary's. He can really shoot the ball, and he's a high IQ player, and he's the kind of guy I think can have a really long and successful career in this league.
Nearly takes a seat as Luke Travers back into the game. Christian D'Angelo also checked in for the first time for United. He's a DP for them this year. He's been playing for the Nunawading Spectres in the NBL 1 the last couple of years. Hunter from 3. And that one's good. United still lead by 10. Phoenix looking to turn up the pressure a little bit here. Foster knocking that away from D'Angelo.
Well, this is what they do, the Phoenix. That you see the four-man face guarding on the inbounds, the Ketchalia at the moment. They identify the ball handler they want to keep the ball out of. As Travers can't hit from the corner. They face guard that guy and they force it into the hands of someone else. And right now they're trying to keep the ball out of Luke Travers' hands.
A foul on Christian D'Angelo for a little hold.
And this is, it's that sort of full court pressure we were talking about earlier, where the Phoenix can start to build a little momentum in games like this and start to get the thing played on their terms.
Krebs from deep from the handoff from Glover, no good. Glover finds it back in his hands and still cannot connect. Glover was very, very impressive in the first two hitouts against B-League United and St Mary's, as we've got an offensive foul on Kyle Bowen. That shot from Chris Golding will not count. Angus Glover went 11 for 22 from three-point range in those first two games.
Shot the heck out of the ball.
Yep. No surprise, really. One of the best three-point shooters in the NBL last season.
Absolutely, and he's a gunner. He sees one or two go down, he starts letting it fly from deeper and deeper, and starts growing in confidence, and he can, knock down triples in bunches.
Spent part of the off-season as Foster leaves one of the shorts. Glover spent part of the off-season playing for the Kilsyth Cobras in the NBL 1 South. Goodrick will head to the line for a pair. Obviously coming off the best season of his career, Angus Glover winning the Sixth Man of the Year award.
Well, it's a grind offensively. Both teams right now, and Phoenix midway through the second quarter, just 23 points on the board. They you talk about a guy like Angus Glover, they need someone to start to get going a little bit at the offensive end.
We've got an offensive foul on Christian D'Angelo, holding as he was trying to secure the ball.
No, it's good pressure from Daniel Foster, denying Tom Wilson, and Wilson gives him a little shove. Draws the offensive foul. This is the pressure from the Phoenix starting to have an impact.
Glover finally connects from that right corner in the face of Krislovich, and maybe that'll get him going. First triple of the night for Angus Glover. Here's Travers to Bowen, and Ketchalia sends that packing.
Great defensive play from Aaliyah, cracking back and sending that away. I like the adjustment from Melbourne United. Make Luke Travers the inbounder and quickly get the ball back to him.
And all of a sudden the energy's up a little bit here for this Phoenix team. Little mini 4-0 run.
We saw this Melbourne United use that same strategy against the Phoenix last season with Finn Delaney. Make that guy the inbounder and then see if we can get him downhill against this Phoenix pressure.
Travers. Good pressure from Glover. Shot clock down to 3. Travers had to go and made something out of nothing there. Extends the margin back to 8 for United. Glover gets into the paint and draws the foul as Krislovich was coming over to help.
That's where they've had some success, the Phoenix. They haven't had a lot of success offensively in this first half, but when guys have been aggressive, the rip and the attack there from Angus Glover, they've been drawing fouls. Fouls on Ingles, fouls on Travers right there. I'm sure that'll be part of the message from Josh King. We don't just get trigger happy from long range. Put some heat on the rim.
These will be free throw attempts number 9 and 10 for the Phoenix in the first half. Sam Wardenberg check back in for United. No problems for Glover, and Sam Davidson will come back in for Tanner Krebs. And Phoenix right up and in here, full court. A foul there on Akech Alir. That'll be the 4th team foul on the Phoenix. So both teams in the bonus here for the remainder of this second quarter.
And there's a bunch of it to play. This could be a lengthy quarter the rest of the way. It makes, we see a lot of fouls in preseason as teams try to find out exactly where that line is, push the boundaries a little. So with free throws the rest of the way, 4 minutes to play, who can stay a little bit more disciplined defensively and keep the other off the line?
Travers. Davidson goes all the way and takes it right at Luke Travers and gets the and one.
Okay.
It's going to be the second on Luke Travers. Impressive. Sam Davidson's got some sneaky hops. He had a two-handed, 2-foot dunk against B-League United the other week that no one was expecting.
All right. Well, we saw him right there. That was a very impressive finish. The great kick ahead from Angus Glover, and Sam Davidson looked up, saw Luke Travers, and said, I'm taking you right to the rim.
Absolutely. Davidson, who plays in the off-season NBL 1 South, the Dandenong Rangers.
Is he in the mix here, do you think, for this final roster spot for the Phoenix?
I think he is. He's played in
go?
all of their preseason games. Look, they've got one local roster spot left. I've been trying to figure it out. I'm of the view that they don't have a lot of depth of pure point guard talent.
Okay.
They have Mays, obviously.
Yep.
Sobey can play point guard. Foster can play point guard. Glover can play a little bit of point guard. Dash can play a little bit of point guard. But in terms of pure point guards, for some of those guys, not always their preferred position. So is that a spot that maybe they target just to have some depth on the roster just in case? Or do they want a little bit more depth up front as well, where they're not like super, super deep at those 4 and 5 positions? So I'm not sure, but I don't know who that would be from a local roster spot position in the front court.
Yeah, look, sometimes you can have that third string point guard as a DP, and you can have that depth in the position in that way. But, if you've got your DPs sorted and maybe the 1 or 2 guys you're looking at are outside of that DP age range, you might have to roster that guy.
Yep. Well, Davidson and Deng Dut, who have both played all for the preseason games for the Phoenix, as the pressure again creates a turnover. Wilson can't control it. Davidson and Deng Dut, both 25 years of age, so you talk about that DP age range, and that may be a consideration, and it's probably an opportune time to say that at halftime we're going to be joined by the GM of basketball operations for the South East Melbourne Phoenix, Simon Mitchell, is going to stop by to have a chat with us, as I think Wardenberg got a piece of that. The referees thought otherwise. And United ball, did he not tip that?
Well, Jordan Hunter would certainly like us to think so. I think.
3 officials thought otherwise, and they're a lot closer to the action than I am, so I'll take their word for it. Meanwhile, Phoenix have cut this to a 3-point margin after trailing by 10 a little while ago. D'Angelo looking for Wardenberg. Good pressure from the Phoenix to swarm on him and come away with a turnover. And Hunter Goodrick again putting in work on the defensive end. Davidson a little too quick on that 3-ball attempt. D'Angelo with a nice little Euro finish, getting back to that right hand.
Well, they're 6 from 24 from long range, the Phoenix. It might be just getting close to time to put that thing away. Glover slices his way to the cup. Put some heat on the rim while your opponents are in the bonus to close out the half.
No good for D'Angelo there. And Glover looking to push the other way. Kick ahead to Hunter. Geordie Hunter can't get the roll. And that's been that kind of night for the Phoenix. They're now 4 of 16 from 2-point range. Wardenberg with a nice strong take. Sam Wardenberg now up to 5 points. Glover to Hunter, and there's that roll you were looking for, Liam.
A good finish from Hunter. Got to the reverse. Krislovic. Well done from Goodrick. Heavy contact into the chest and an offensive foul.
Got a slew of substitutions checking in for both teams. Illy, Ingles, Aduro in for United. Daniels, Krebs. Daniels and Krebs in for the Phoenix. Three-point game, 2 minutes to play. Here's Daniels again. It's the high screen from Hunter. Back to Davidson from long range. It's no good, but Krebs keeps it alive. Davidson with a second try at it. Still no good. And Ingles manages to save it just. Illy looking for that kick ahead to Wardenberg, but Sam Davidson's going to get called for a foul in the process, and that's going to send Wardenberg to the line for some bonus free throws.
Again, those shots are open, and so you can't fault a guy from letting it fly. But they've been so poor from long range over the course of this first half. The Phoenix just 23%, 6 for 26. We mentioned the last 4 minutes, Melbourne United have been over the limit, but the Phoenix have not really challenged them and got themselves to the free throw line to cash in.
On the flip side, United have attempted just 8 three-pointers. They've virtually been living inside the paint.
Which would really please their coaching staff. Yeah. You know, Jacob Chan sitting this one out, Dave Barlow at the helm, but their execution, the shot profile for Melbourne United across this first half has been very healthy.
The only other thing that's worked against United, to be honest, is the turnovers, the ball security. 11 turnovers to 3 in this first half as Krebs gets hounded by Aduro and Wardenberg, kicks it to Daniels. And Illy tracks it down and gets fouled by Tanner Krebs in the process. And Illy's going to go the length for a pair of free throws now. It's the first personal on Krebs. Nice to see Shea Illy healthy again. Mm-hmm. You know about the concussion issues. He's had the hamstring issues as well. Took it relatively easy in the offseason. He did play a handful of games for Sandringham in the NBL 1 South. Played some FIBA qualifiers for the Tall Blacks, but I think he's really focused on getting himself right again to attack this season. And we know that when he's healthy, what a menace he is and how important he is to this United team. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, of course.
Well, fingers crossed for Melbourne United fans, he can stay healthy. Mm-hmm. As you say, has such a big impact out there. And it's been a rough couple of years for him in that regard.
Here's Glover with Hunter. Pick and pop. No good from Geordie that time. Glover with the up fake sends Illy flying and knocks it down. And this crowd loves it as Ingles with the quick inbound to Aduro. Travis was looking for the lob. Meanwhile, they'll kick it out. Inside the final 30 seconds now of the first half. Travers right at Glover and draws a foul.
I mean, that's where he is just going to eat this season. I'll be honest, and I'm glazing Luke Travers tonight, I know. But I'll be shocked if he's not one of the best players in the league this season. Now, there's a lot of buzz around Cole Anthony and a whole bunch of other names across the competition that have come into the mix. But and this is a stacked roster. There's only one ball, but he's such a Swiss Army knife. He was a 5x5 threat before he left.
Yep.
He's coming back in the prime of his career.
Yep.
I think maybe, if you're picking your All-NBL first team and second team guys in pre-season, you'd want to be writing Luke Travers' name in that conversation.
I do not disagree with you at all. And I think he's going to have every opportunity to do that. I think someone like Joe Ingles will want a Luke Travers to succeed, and he's going to do whatever he can to help him do that. Chris Golding the same. They've got history together now, obviously. And I think even Cole Anthony will benefit from the way Travers plays. And they'll help each other. They'll complement each other as Det manages to get that somehow over the Aduro block. Krebs picks it off from three-quarter court. No good, but we do have another close preseason throwdown ball game on our hands here. It looked like it was getting away from the Phoenix at one point, but they've pegged it back, and it's just a 2-point margin here at halftime, 43-41. Liam, just before we bring in Simon Mitchell, what were your thoughts on the Phoenix kind of working their way back into the game in the latter part of that second quarter?
Well, they churned up the defense. Forced some turnovers. You mentioned the turnover count. They got 12 turnovers from Melbourne United in that first half. So they put the pressure on. That's their game. They started to get some opportunities as a result. But, I didn't like a lot of how they went about it offensively. 7 for 29 from three-point territory. Not generating a lot of great looks in the half court, especially inside the paint. But through the defense, through the forcing of turnovers, they've worked their way back into the game.
Absolutely. We're going to bring in Simon Mitchell now. Just a moment. GM of basketball here at the Phoenix. He's just making his way over to us.
I've got his attention.
Already making jokes. Who wouldn't expect anything else. Simon, firstly, thank you very much for making the trek all the way up to us here to have a chat with us. We really do appreciate it. But I want to start with forgetting what's happened so far tonight. It's, you guys were really close to making the grand final series last year for the second straight year. You've had Josh King at the helm now in his third season, second full season in charge. The identity of this team is pretty clear. What was the kind of priorities for you and Josh heading into this off-season in terms of retooling some of these pieces?
Yeah, we did a pretty extensive exit process from last season, going through with all of the players, trying to find the one percenters that we could do better as an organisation as well as a team. And we've identified some, but not as many as we would have liked. So we've had to dig really deep in the off-season through video and whatnot to come up with where we need to get better. I think we're a great pressure team up the floor, and we do a very good job of winning the possession count. But we need to be a sturdier team in the half court at both ends, both scoring in the half court and also our ability to defend the half court. And I think that's been the priority for our direction in this season.
Well, I wanted to start with, before we get to the imports, with some of the local core that you've brought across. We'll come back to Dash in a minute, and Liam and I have spoken about that a little bit. Obviously, I've had his thoughts on that, but Tanner Krebs was an interesting one to me in terms of his decision to make the move across town from United to the Phoenix. And, I don't know where it's going to play out with Josh as the preseason continues, but there's been some chatter about whether his role may be the starting three on this team, whether he'll come off the bench as he did for the most part at United. But what was kind of your thinking in adding that piece? And I guess also, what did Tanner want out of that move coming across to the Phoenix?
Yeah, well, he's a pretty good player at Melbourne United. He was playing behind for the last few years, and I guess that maybe to step outside of that shadow a little bit and spread his wings. From our perspective, we're getting another high-level shooter, a rangy defender, a high IQ guy, and someone that we've thought for a couple of seasons now would fit very well into the structures of what we try to do here at South East Melbourne. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us to throw a rod in the water and see if we could get a catch. And we got a couple of nibbles, and that turned into a reeling him in.
Fantastic.
Speaking of throwing rods into the lines into the water, the crew threw a few of them out in that first half and didn't land many. 7 for 29 from long range. What did you make of that first half?
Yeah, look, I think it was either some extraordinary defence from two teams or a little bit of rusted offence. I think it's pre-season and we'll eventually find that balance between we're an aggressive three-point shooting team and we're not going to hide from that. 29, 7 of, probably not where we want to be just at the moment, but we're missing a couple of key guys out there in Skylar Mays and Nathan Sobey, who are going to be guys who put it on the floor, put some heat on the rim, and that'll change up how we look a little bit on that front. But we let it go in the last game against St Mary's too, and a little bit of a sweat breaking out on the brow. Maybe get some heat on the rim here and get ourselves to the free throw line. But it's very early days at the moment, so I'm very encouraged by both teams, to be honest. Melbourne United as well, just very encouraged by the intensity out there tonight. And for a pre-season game this early into pre-season, and a few bodies missing, there's a genuine hunger. We don't like each other. I think that's pretty well publicised.
Yep.
Even for pre-season, you can feel there's a little special intensity out there tonight.
And Mitch, we were talking about a little in the first half. Look, he's not on your squad, but Joe Ingles out here in an NBL uniform. We were talking about that group with Bogert and Daly and Baines and Paddy and Joe that was so special in the green and gold for so many campaigns. And the fact that we've seen so many of them come back into the NBL must be pleasing to see Joe Ingles running around here at the State Basketball Centre.
Wasn't too thrilling, to be honest. Look, it is great that these guys who have done so much for Australian basketball on the international level, and Joe in the NBL in his prior life of a basketballer, but to come back, and he's made it quite clear that this isn't a one-year gig, that he wants to contribute for a number of seasons. And look, that's great for Australian basketball. It's great for Melbourne United, but it's great for the NBL as a whole. And even just when he touched the ball out there, you could, there's quite a few extra cheers for him. And we'll see that stop pretty soon, I hope.
One of your new faces is Skylar Mays. Had a lot of publicity. It's the big signing for you guys. Obviously, Owen Foxwell moving on. You haven't had an import at that point guard position for a couple of seasons now. How did that kind of come about, the conversations with Skylar? And I know we're still kind of waiting for him to ramp up and start taking part in the pre-season, but what are you expecting out of him this year?
Skylar's a really highly skilled player. He's high IQ, he makes good decisions, he can defend up the floor. His shooting ability is really, really high at 3 levels. He can get on the rim, he's got sneaky athleticism, get his elbow in the ring if he needs to. But he's got a nice pull-up game and he's deadly from very deep. So on top of his ability to penetrate and play and create for others, I think he's going to be a really great asset for the NBL, certainly a great asset for South East Melbourne Phoenix, and we're really excited to have him.
Mitch, we don't see a lot of non-American guys take up import spots in the NBL. When we do, it's fascinating. You guys went down that path last year with the Belgian and it didn't quite work out as you liked. Tell us a little bit about what you've got in the middle with the Frenchman.
Yeah, so we've still got one position to sign, but we had 2 positions and we weren't really sure which direction we were going to go in. We're going to have a guard and a big. That's all we really knew. I think the feeling amongst myself and the coaching staff was we're probably leaning into maybe going with 2 Australians and having an import up our sleeve in case of an injury during the course of the season. But I guess Giannis kind of fell in our lap to a degree. it was just one of those situations where he played with Brock Modem last year and Trey Cal in Japan. Those guys were watching the NBL games, and he's kind of sat down with them and started watching them, and he's like, geez, this league's pretty interesting. I could get into this, and and he put his hand up to his management and say, hey, can you find me something in the NBL? And we got the call, and we had a position open, and I think we were the only team maybe with an import big position open.
And what did you see when you dove into the tape?
Yeah, look, we really liked him. He's long, he's athletic. He can play the 4 and the 5, but we see him mostly as a 5 on our squad. The first thing that caught my eye was his ability in the short roll game to locate guys.
Okay.
Now, it's probably not the sexiest skill out there, but with the number of shooters that we've got, his ability, his unselfishness, but his ability to find those guys and willingness to kick that ball early, I thought, all right, there's something that we can really work with. And then you see his length at the defensive end, his rim protection, and there's a lot of traits that we could really use. And we were able to make the deal work. We're really, really fortunate, and we really look forward to getting him on the floor, hopefully next Thursday.
I did ask Brock Modem about him when you guys signed him last week, and he said he's a really good guy. He's a good athlete. He's a good defender. He can score, and he said he thinks he'll really help you guys. So, again, it's a nice piece for you guys to have, as you said, fell into your lap, maybe a bit unexpected in terms of what you'd planned, but always good to have those guys that can give you a bit more depth up front and a bit more versatility. How do you see the role working between him and Geordie Hunter this year? Has that kind of been figured out yet, or is it still a bit too early to tell given you haven't really got him on the floor yet?
Yeah, well, he hasn't done a full contact training session yet, so it's probably a little bit to discover.
Okay.
But look, I think it creates an internal pressure, which I really enjoy and I like. And like Geordie's a competitor, and he'll see that he's got a guy who's highly capable join our roster, and hopefully that sort of gets him going. And look, any time you can get depth of talent and a little bit of internal competition, it's really good. And the other thing I'll add too, you mentioned bringing in a European, Liam.
Yeah.
And, I love it. Like, he just brings a different perspective of the game, a different culture. He's brought his partner out as well, and she's lovely. And we it's just to integrate different perspectives into our organisation. There's nothing but positives there, and he's an absolute ripping bloke.
Nice.
Just quickly, Mitch, before we let you go, and thanks again for joining us, what are you and Josh thinking in terms of that final roster spot? Have you got any idea what position you really want to target with that yet, or are you still going to kind of wait and see how things play out a bit further in this pre-season?
This probably isn't the hottest take, but there's a couple of guys down there in uniform wwho are really pressing for that role.
Yep.
And we're going to give them every opportunity to battle it out. Look, it's not the last position isn't promised to any one of these guys. There may be something else that drops from the sky for us.
Right.
But we're pretty happy with these guys that we have in the gym right now, and we feel like that more than one of these guys could make a great contribution to the NBL.
Fantastic. Well, Simon Mitchell, really appreciate you stopping by.
Morning, Mitch.
Good luck for the second half. Good luck for the rest of the pre-season as things ramp up, and we look forward to checking in to see how you guys are doing a little bit later on in the year as well.
No worries, gentlemen. Have a good rest of the night, and great call.
Thanks, Mitch. Well, you heard there for us from Simon Mitchell, that last roster spot. It looks like it's probably between Sam Davidson and Deng Dut at this stage, but things may change as we're ready to get underway here in the second half. It's United with the ball first, and Illy draws a foul just 5 seconds into the half.
I love that from Shea Illy. We were talking about that sort of approach in the first half. Didn't see a lot of that from the Phoenix, but Shea Illy attacking the rim off the opening catch, putting pressure on the defense and getting himself to the stripe.
No good on the first.
When was the last season there was not a Frenchman in the NBL?
That is an excellent question.
It may have been a while ago.
You've recruited a few of them.
I've brought a
the
couple
last few
in.
years.
Yeah.
It does. I do like that. It does bring a different flavour to the league. You got Velichka up in Brisbane this year as well,
True.
a Lithuanian point guard, which we don't see a lot of in terms of European guards.
Who was the last Lithuanian in the league?
That would be the guy in New Zealand whose name I'm forgetting. Mantas Rubstavicius.
Correct.
Modi Mayor was his head coach.
Love the way those guys play, the Lithuanians. Fits really well within this style, this culture.
Schwartz. I think Wardenberg got a piece of that one, and Hunter fortuitously cleans it up for the Phoenix, and we're all tied up, Liam.
No, they're the hardest possessions to finish defensively, an air ball. So often they end up being an offensive rebound, and right there, Hunter takes advantage.
Golding wide open from the left wing. Maduro battling on those O-boards, and we've got a foul, but it's on the floor, says Josh Durant. No basket.
Was that on Schwartz?
It was not. On Geordie Hunter for some head contact.
Sigh of relief from Schwartz, who thought he had his fourth a minute into the third term.
It is the second team foul against the Phoenix already, though. Just a minute into it. Golding against his ex-teammate. Duro trying to clear out space. And we've got a foul on Hunter, and that's going to be 2 shots for Josh Aduro.
Well, the attack off the dribble from Melbourne United. It's clearly something that they continue to speak about at half-time. Illy comes in, gets 2 feet in the paint, gets to the free throw line. Here Aduro rips it through and drives Geordie Hunter. They're drawing fouls. They're getting paint touches. They're getting high percentage shots at the rim, and it's shooting a bunch of free throws.
What have you made of your first look of Josh Aduro here tonight, Liam? He's been active. He's been active defensively, especially a couple of blocks in the first half. He's knocking down his free throws. He's 4 of 4 from there now. What have you made of the way he's played so far here?
Yeah, I like his energy. This, as you mentioned earlier, Hershey, he's a role player on this group. So you don't want him coming out here and jacking up a lot of shots as Travers rejects Foster at the cup.
Golding with a nice find. Travers can't clean it up. A couple of bunnies missed there for United, and Foster looking to push the other way. Schwartz gets to that left hand, loses control in midair though. It's just not working at times for the Phoenix tonight, as Wardenberg with the nice kick to Illy in the corner. We've got a lot of up and down action here, but not a lot of buckets. Krebs denies that one, and Wardenberg picks up a cheap foul. Tries to help up Dan Foster. Second personal on Sam Wardenberg.
Yeah, you're talking about Josh Aduro. The running of the floor. We've seen him getting out in transition, running that middle lane. You want him, be a target as a pick and roll big. And how sound can you be defensively? And so far, I think it's been a nice outing, and he's looked like a good piece for them in my first really good look at it.
Glover with a quick release from the left, in and out. Travers with a beautiful find for Illy.
Oh, wow.
And one.
Luke Travers, the defensive rebound and exquisite thread of the needle in transition to Illy.
It's that vision we talk about, that playmaking ability of Luke Travers that makes him so versatile.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a couple of minutes away from a double-double. And then, you throw the dimes, the steals, the blocks into the mix. He's having a huge impact.
It's his third assist. He's got 8 points, 9 boards, 3 dimes, 1 steal and a block. No surprise, Luke Travers doing a little bit of everything out there for Melbourne United. Margin back out to 5 now. Foster works down low, and I think Travers may have got a piece of that one too.
Oh my goodness. Again, Luke Travers. One hand, live dribble, full court bounce pass. And, he's just tearing things apart out here, Luke Travers, at both ends of the floor.
He certainly is, and we've got a timeout to the Phoenix. And I think Josh King's going to need to find a way to get the ball out of Travers' hands and at least slow him down in transition.
Well, it starts with, what's your shot profile? What kind of looks are you getting offensively? And, in small guards attacking Luke Travers and trying to squeeze it past him at the rim, that ain't it. He's so long, he's so mobile. They've got to move the rock. They've got to get the ball through hands, get some, a little bit from side to side and try to get some better looks at the rim. Geordie Hunter as a roll man, something I'm hoping to see a little bit of. I think that'll be some of the frustration. You don't see a lot of timeouts from Josh King about the offense. He's always so much I'm going to coach the heck out of the defense and let you guys have some fun offensively. But I wouldn't be surprised if in this huddle he's talking about, look, let's get some better looks at the offensive end.
Absolutely right. Just on Travers. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but against B-League United, his first hit out in this preseason, 19 points, 12 boards, 6 assists, 9 of 12 from the field. Fine. Last 2 years across the G League, 36 games for the Cleveland Charge. He averaged 17 points, 9.6 boards, 6 assists, 1.6 steals, 1.3 blocks. And again, like that all-around talent.
Yeah, look, plenty of guys will score more than Luke Travers this season. No one will fill out the box score.
No.
Stuff the stat sheet more than he will across the year.
Hunter from straight away knocks that one down. Cuts the margin back to 4. Geordie Hunter now up to 10 points. His second triple of the night. Daniels right up and in on Shayeli. Golding now, shot clock down to 6.
Good
3
D.
up fakes, great D from Krebs. And Daniels is going to get called for a foul down low. Pushing off against Illy. How many times has Krebs defended that move at training over the years, do you think?
Stayed on the floor, didn't he?
He knew what was coming.
Well, they're going to need to be super disciplined the rest of this quarter, the Phoenix. Yeah. It's an issue for them. They pick the pressure defense. They pick up personals. But 5 fouls here in the first 3.5 minutes of the third. Every chance Melbourne United just live at the free throw line across this next 6.5.
Illy goes 1 for 2. Battle for the ball. Aduro comes up with it and he gets an easy bucket. Deshaun Schwartz just couldn't quite clean it up. Not what Josh King would want to see. And he looks visibly frustrated right now on the sidelines. Illy got in front of Daniels, kind of pulled the chair, and we will have an offensive foul against Dash Daniels. There's a late whistle. It's going to be the third on Dash. Goodrick comes in for Geordie Hunter. Ingles in for Shea Illy. And Krislovich in for Josh Aduro. If you're Josh King, do you mind that play from Dash, or you just let him play through it? You like the aggression?
Oh, you definitely like the aggression, for sure. You know, he's a big, strong kid. He's 18 years of age, youngest player in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And
Travers now puts the moves on.
Now, Josh King would be furious. The push-off from Luke Travers, so you get the offensive foul down one end. Travers there extends the arm, no whistle. He's already had one preseason technical, Josh King, and he's in lengthy conversation right now about that inconsistency.
Here's Daniel Foster. Dash from the right wing, a little too strong. And Travers just got his double-double with that 10th rebound. It was Wardenberg with the strong take against Deshaun Schwartz. No foul. Schwartz with the up fake, kicks to Krebs in the corner, and I think Golding may have got a piece of that. And now we've got a foul call down low. And that's against Sam Wardenberg. Third personal on Wardenberg as Sam Davidson and a Ketchalier checking in for the Phoenix. Baseline out of bounds here for Southeast Melbourne. Fresh 14 on the shot clock. Enjoying the battle between Golding and Krebs. Travers with another rebound. Crosses up Alier and draws the foul.
Honestly, he's doing whatever he wants. Luke Travers.
A little bit like a man amongst boys almost at times.
Well, he's racking up an enormous stat line for a preseason hit out. As you say, the double-double midway through the third quarter. He's got the 4 assists, steal, a couple of blocks. I mean, we'll see how much he plays the rest of the way, but he keeps pushing the ball in transition, throwing those one-hand bounce passes. Might be an interesting box score to keep an eye on.
Seems to be able to get to whatever spot he wants to get to on the floor pretty easily. And then he ends up picking up the other team's point guard full court afterwards as well. Alier. And the 3-ball continues to be a struggle for Southeast Melbourne. Glover now goes against Wilson. Kicks out to Krebs, wide open on the right wing, and that one was pure. Nice find from Angus Glover.
Well, I think that's a much better shot, to be honest, than a lot that they've hoisted up, because 2 feet in the paint from Glover, paint touch, kick out, open look. Now, speaking of open looks.
And 2 feet in the paint. Yeah.
Luke Travers getting right to the rim on the regular.
Here's Davidson now from the top. And again, you talk about the ones that are good shots and the ones that are a little bit forced, and that was certainly the latter.
Well, for sure. I mean, you can get, you've still got plenty of shot clock. Yes, the defense is slipping under. You want to punish them for sure. But get that paint touch. Get 1, 2, 3 of them. Kick out. Now let it fly later in the shot clock.
Tom Wilson, second year back in the NBL after his AFL career, and Ingles from the left corner, and that is sweet and a quick release. Joe Ingles, that's his first bucket of the night.
So that's at 13 now, and you can hear the home crowd just getting a little restless as they feel this preseason hit out slipping away.
Alier no good. Krizlovic with a big rebound. And he's pushing the other way. Ingles, Krizlovic. Travers from the corner. Good ball movement by United. And Tom Wilson's going to pick up the foul there against Angus Glover. That'll be the third team foul on Melbourne.
That's pretty from Joe Ingles, wasn't it? The 3-ball in the corner. Is he still the all-time leading 3-point made guy for the Utah Jazz? That's
I don't know. I'd have to look that one up.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting
I don't have that one written down on my bingo card tonight.
Off the top of your head.
We can find out.
But I'm saying he was at one stage. I think he still might be. That's a big-time record to hold.
Oh, yeah. Good defense from Bowen on Alier, and Daniels knocks down the wide-open 3 and throws his hands up in the air as if I finally got one to drop. But again, off a paint touch and a kick, a better look is D'Angelo from the left corner.
Well, meanwhile, Melbourne United, I mean, their juices are flowing. They've got that feeling right amongst the group now. They're hunting 3-point looks.
It's just their 4th of the night, but they haven't shot many. Davidson no good. Daniels back to Davidson, and Krizlovic Going to be called for the foul coming over a tad late there. He thought it was clean. Josh Durant thought otherwise. Second personal on Fab Krizlovic. Now in his second year at Melbourne United. And reunited with Jacob Chance.
We spoke about the shot selection a couple of possessions ago, but you love the energy from Sam Davidson. He's giving them a little bit of electricity off the bench. Now he checks out, Deng Dutt comes in as he tries to make an impression, but good minutes there from Sam Davidson overall.
Daniels up and in, as you'd expect. Wilson now probes baseline, gets that left hand but couldn't finish. And Goodrick cleans it up and the Phoenix are off and running the other way. Glover with a little hezzy move. Nowhere to go in the end though. And
he got caught in the air,
turn
Angus
it over.
Glover.
Just the fifth turner over the night for the Phoenix though. That's one area of the game that hasn't really bothered them. Ingles from the right wing. And Krizlovic works on the O-boards and draws a foul on a catch of lead. Great work from Fab Krizlovic down low.
Strong work from Krizlovic, as you say.
Fifth board now for Fab.
Coming off a grand final MVP performance. That shout out the North crew in NBL 1 East coming up with the title.
Krizlovic, Hunter Goodrick, Wani Swaka Bullock. Quite a stacked lineup there.
Well, I watched
crew for the North Bears.
I watched a great game mid-season between North and the COE. When the COE, before they lost all their guys and they had their full stack lineup, the young fellas got the win on the road that night. But it was a fun one. They put on a good night's entertainment there in the suburbs of Sydney, and great congratulations to them taking out the title.
Deng Dutt playing point guard now for Southeast Melbourne. Love a little two-man action with Schwartz. Gets that mid-range, but can't get it to go. And we've got a foul down low. It's going to go against Josh Oduro from Melbourne United. Hunter Goodrick battling on those O-boards. Just the first personal for Oduro. Well, that will be bonus free throws for Hunter Goodrick. And that grand final win that you were just speaking about, he had 16 points and 9 boards. Hunter Goodrick, great opportunity to come to the Phoenix after what he was able to do with the Sydney Kings. Playing as a replacement player for much of that season, got a chance to taste the championship, and now gets to come here and play a real role, a real consistent role. And I like the way he's gone about it so far. He's just a workhorse down low, is Hunter Goodrick. A little undersized, but doesn't stop working.
No, for sure. And you love having those guys on your roster. An NBL so he's currently an NBL and an NBL 1 champion.
Correct.
That's a good place to be.
It's not a bad place to be at all. Foster in, Daniels out. Couple of bonus free throws here for Josh Oduro. That was the first miss at the free throw line tonight for Oduro. It was 4 of 4 before that one. That would have been burgers in the regular season, but not here tonight, unfortunately.
You hungry, Hershey?
A little bit, a little peckish. Foster with nowhere to go, kicks it out to Glover. Shot clock now under 10. And that's an illegal screen from Hunter Goodrick.
Unnecessary.
Shea Illy knows what to do there.
Well,
yeah, you're right.
I mean, he wasn't moving, and it was it was a great screen, got the angle right, and then for some strange reason just decided to lean in a little further and lay a little extra heavy contact. Down 13 late in the third. Costly turnover.
Jensen Bradke back out there. As Ingles gets to that left hand, trademark move all the way to the bucket. And makes it look easy.
He just works the angles. Ingles. Don't say that too quickly. You'll twist your tongue around, but just knows how to slice his way to the cup off those dribble handoffs.
Glover from very deep. Maduro cleans it up. And the struggles from deep continue for the Phoenix. Ooh, Ingles.
It was a good read.
Oh, yeah.
Another
Lobbed
good
it
read.
over the top to Aduro, and that foul went against Daniel Foster.
Again off the DHO, and he gets the rescreen from Maduro. The defense that time commits to Ingles, so he has the roll man over the top. It's going to be a real threat that Melbourne has in their kit bag all season. Get to the second side of the offense, and you'll have Ingles as a playmaker, making things happen.
So inside the final 30 seconds of this third period, United have really busted this game open here in this quarter. They lead by 16. It's 27-13 here in this third period. Glover. Goodrick. Lefty three. Pure. Glover steals it from the corner. Good. 6-0 run in the final 5 seconds, and the crowd is up and about a little bit all of a sudden.
Big time play from Glover. Heads up. Read the inbounds. A little laissez-faire from Melbourne United to close out the quarter. And then the poise, the wherewithal. Find his feet, take his time. Cuts the margin to 10.
Knew exactly how much time was
yeah.
on the clock there, did Angus Glover. Well, it made for a little bit of an exciting finish to what was blowing out a bit. It's back to a 10-point margin with 10 minutes to play, but that quarter was pretty dominant for Melbourne United, Liam.
Oh boy, dominant from Luke Travers to begin with. Geez, wasn't he having an enormous impact? He's got a very impressive stat line, 14-11, 4 dimes, a steal and 2 blocks. And they looked like they were going to just run away with things as a result. Joe Ingles came in and started to wheel and deal a little bit, and those last couple of plays from Glover just steadied the ship a little bit for the home team, and he's quietly had himself a pretty big game in his own right. Angus Glover, just 23 minutes on the floor, 15, 6 and 5 with 3 steals. Angus Glover, he's been getting after it.
Yeah, he hasn't shot the ball as well as we'd probably expect, or as well as he did in the first couple of games, but he's been that one consistent scorer for the Phoenix tonight in what has been a bit of a struggle for them offensively. In fact, Glover is one of just 2 players in double figures for South East Melbourne, along with Geordie Hunter, who has 10 points. The final result tonight does not matter in the slightest to either team.
True.
But what are you looking for in this fourth quarter if you're Josh King, given how they've played through the first 3 quarters?
Yeah, obviously it's been a work in progress all night long offensively in the half court. Simon Mitchell, the GM of basketball, spoke about it at halftime. It's an area as an organisation, he said, that we need to get better at. So that's been, you want to see some sharper execution in that respect down the stretch. But also, hey, he'll be saying, can we get after it a little bit more defensively? We've looked our best. We always look our best when our pressure is making our opponents uncomfortable and we're forcing turnovers. So that'll be the focus for Josh King in the fourth.
And again, whilst the result doesn't matter, we did hear Simon Mitchell say there is a rivalry. We don't like them. Mm-hmm. Right? This, if United goes on to win this game, would be the 3rd straight year they come into this building in the preseason and knock off the Phoenix. I wonder if that kind of pride plays into it a little bit here in this fourth quarter as we get underway. Dutt with a kick out to Schwartz. Nowhere to go, and good kick across to Foster, wide open from the right wing, and that's a nice start for the Phoenix. That's 3 triples in about 30 seconds for them now, and they've cut this margin back to 7 all of a sudden.
Generated a really good look there. Great skip pass, wide open Foster. Hurt a little bit from the Melbourne United bench behind him, but cool enough to knock that thing down.
Wardenberg, a little too strong. Good up and down defense from Schwartz. Krebs with the quick release in transition. United come the other way. Here's Illy. Ingles gives up a good shot for a better one for his teammate Chris Golding. Can't get it to go, and Aduro cleans it up though. Golding putting the moves on Geordie Hunter. And that Aduro follow will be waved away. I think we've got a late call against Geordie Hunter. It's going to be 2 shots for Chris Golding.
You like that little crossover?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. Just reminding everyone he's still got that in his bag of tricks.
Oh, yeah, the mismatch, and he took advantage, Chris Golding. Shook Geordie Hunter out of his boots and drew the foul. Hunter is talking incredulously to the officials. Doesn't think he made any contact.
37 years old, Chris Golding. He'll be 38 in October. It's still got a lot left to give, and I think he's going to remind people about that this season.
Well, he's not the oldest guy on the roster. That's got to feel pretty good.
It's not. For the first time in a while. Of course, those two, Golding and Ingles, won a bronze medal together in Tokyo, along with Nathan Sobey, who's not playing tonight, obviously. Schwartz, baseline drive. Nothing doing there, and the ball's going to go back to United.
He just hasn't been able to draw any whistles,
no.
Schwartz, on those attacks. He's been turning down the 3 ball, attacking the closeout, but hasn't been able to get himself to the line when challenging the defense at the cup.
Hasn't been able to get himself to the line at all tonight. Just 1 of 7 from the field now. Ingles pulls up for 3 right in the face of Hunter.
He tells him all about it too.
A 5-0 run in response by United.
Nice from Jordan Hunter. Hunter as the roll man, the Gortat screen, and Foster right to the rim.
Much needed bucket there for the Phoenix just to stay in check. Wardenberg fakes the handoff, now goes to work down low against Schwartz, gets to that fadeaway. A little strong. And the Phoenix come up with the stop.
Well, I think Josh King would like what he's seeing offensively these first couple of possessions. So Schwartz didn't finish and didn't draw the foul, but you got a little bit more action to the rim. You're generating open looks from 3-point territory. You're drawing fouls from Joe Ingles at halfway. They haven't cut into the margin 2.5 minutes into the quarter, but some more positive signs at the offensive end.
How many times are we going to see Joe Ingles react to foul calls early in the season like that as he adjusts to the NBL officiating?
Well, you can't do that in any league in the world.
Yeah.
Just jam a guy up and bump him at halfway.
Foster left it a little short. Nice up and under move. Nice fake. Deserved a bucket there. Oh, Golding getting fancy on us now.
Again, that Krebs-Golding battle you spoke of earlier has been fun to watch.
Ingles finds Aduro and
good action.
He's drawn the foul on Dan Foster.
Really nice action from the baseline out of bounds, and Ingles is the inbounder on those plays. So dangerous, such great vision, and puts it on the spot.
And you see him going to have a chat with Aduro there, obviously just explaining why being patient in those situations is helpful. As we said earlier, I think Josh Aduro is going to learn a lot from playing with the likes of Joe Ingles this season. Two for two for Aduro. Margins back out to 12. Foster with a nice feed. Hunter can't finish, gets his own miss and draws a foul. These are those little bunnies tonight that the Phoenix haven't been able to finish consistently, and it's been a bit frustrating for their fans, for their coaching staff, I'm sure. Just 28% from the field overall, just 29% from two-point range as well, Liam. That's been probably the most surprising thing. The three balls are going to come and go, but 8 of 28 from two-point range.
But only 28 field goal attempts from two-point territory. 47 from three.
Yep.
So they've shot poorly from a small volume inside the paint.
Yep. Hunter makes both. And he'll take a rest for Goodrick. Phoenix doing well to deny the inbound. They have to go all the way back to Golding. And now they've got 4 seconds to get it over halfway. Ingles now. So patient, Joe Ingles. Calls for the screen from Maduro. And then finds Illy wide open underneath for the easy layup. Just a bit of a defensive breakdown there, and Dan Foster puts up his hand to apologise to the bench. Krebs, Alier, two-man game. Short roll, catch Alier, sweep.
Nice from Alier.
First bucket of the night for him.
But again, you talk about the patience from Ingles, just allowing the play to play out. Allows the breakdown to happen for the Phoenix. Meanwhile, Foster gets floored.
Yeah.
Oh. Jeez, heavy contact from Foster with Aduro.
Aduro nailed him just before half court with a terror screen. I wonder if that's a little bit of retaliation from Dan Foster. Didn't appreciate it.
Hold on, you wonder?
I'm trying to be, impartial.
He took the opportunity.
Diplomatic, that's the word I'm looking for.
He took the opportunity to lay some heavy contact to respond. And he got away with it.
No call, no foul even against Foster. Interesting.
Look at Joe Ingles just messing with Dash Daniels, grabbing his hand.
And they go under on the screen, and Daniels makes them pay. And he's made his last two in a row now as Dash. Back to a 7-point margin. So the Phoenix hanging around, Liam. Ingles caught on 1 foot and hopped, and has he done something? He's walking a little gingerly.
Jeez.
I hope that's nothing serious. The last thing you want to see is an injury in preseason.
I didn't see an ankle turn.
No. Maybe just a little cramping or something.
That's a concern. He actually just tried to walk out the emergency exit door to the car park, having checked out of the game.
Daniels, meanwhile, attacking against Golding, and nice finish from Dash Daniels. 10 points now for Daniels, becomes the third Phoenix player in a double figures. And we're back to a two-possession game. D'Angelo just flips it up and in. Christian D'Angelo now is 7 points. Daniels thought about it, and now he will. And that one's a tad too strong.
Well, that's a concern for Joe Ingles. He's standing up the back there, having checked out of the game.
Golding turns the corner and goes nowhere. Let's see if we can get word on what's going on with Ingles.
Good look for Glover there. In transition, would have cut it to four. Wasn't able to knock it down. Still 5 minutes to play. Plenty of time.
He's Golding right in the face of Daniels.
Oh, wow.
That is pure.
That is tough. Tough from Chris Golding. From deep.
Daniels in the midi. No good that time. And here's Travers coming the other way. Krizlovic. Well, it's back to a 12-point margin for United. Apologies. I'm just trying to see if we can get word on the extent of Joe Ingles' injury. And here's Glover. Schwartz down low, muscles through Chris Golding and gets to the free throw line. That's what we talked about a few moments ago.
Yeah.
The ability to draw contact down low, get himself to the charity stripe.
Well, he's strong, Deshaun Schwartz, but he just hasn't been able to get himself going tonight at all. 3 points, no boards, and 1 assist. 1 of 7 from the field. This is his first trip to the free throw line. And look, as we mentioned, Skylar Mays and Nathan Sobey, they got some guys, Giannis Morin, that are going to play big roles offensively. Schwartz is going to be a bit of a pinch hitter in that regard. But he hasn't been able to take advantage of those opportunities tonight.
Bowen tries to thread one through to D'Angelo. Here's Travers again. Krizlovic from the left corner. Too strong. Phoenix with just over 3 minutes left. If they're going to make something of this game, it's going to have to be pretty quick as Schwartz can't connect. Krebs off the O board knocks it down. 10-point margin. D'Angelo and Krebs in a battle, and Krebs comes away with it. Here's Daniels, gets that float game. Glover with a huge O-board.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a goaltender. I thought that was illegal. Krizlovic knocked it off the rim off Glover's O-board. Well, and Josh Durant's calling that a goaltend.
We've got a funky kind of angle on that one from where we are, but it has to be in the cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
For it to count as a goaltend. Sitting on the rim, you can knock that thing off. And it's a big whistle. Less than 3 minutes to play, but it's back into single digits now. Southeast Melbourne just hanging around. Haven't thrown the towel in just yet.
Here's Travers, turns the corner. Ball slapped away. Oh, Bowen may have got away with a walk there and gets all the way to the cup and draws a foul. And Geordie Hunter, those are the fouls that are a little frustrating, I think, with Hunter. And that's going to be his 4th.
Well, frustrating 4 as well. I mean, he's had a couple there where he felt like maybe the contact wasn't particularly heavy. Well done by Bowen, though. Got his shoulder past Hunter, put him out of position, did enough to draw the whistle.
Bowen spent the off-season with Sandringham Sabres in the NBL 1 South. 15 points, 9.7 boards, 3.5 assists, just about 1.5 blocks, and nearly 2 steals a game. Very productive for Bowen. He's played about 13, 14 minutes a game last year for United. Daniels from the left wing, and that's good. And this crowd loving it. Back to a 2-possession game, Liam. Not done just yet with 2 minutes left on the clock. Illy. Wardenberg. And Schwartz cleans it up for the Phoenix. Daniels had a very nice second half. Found his range. And this time he fakes the three, gets all the way to the bucket, and that's a good strong take from the young man.
Good decision, Daniels. Now you see the confidence. He's hunting baskets right now. Mm-hmm. He's feeling it from three-point territory. That's what I was talking about at halftime with Dash Daniels. Shoot that thing with confidence, young fella. I mean, this is a big, strong, tough, physical pro league. Hirsch, you have to be a very special 18-year-old to be able to play and compete in this league at that age. So, it's easy to forget. I played that game against St Mary's last week. He was the youngest guy in the game against the college team.
Yep.
And here he is in this fourth quarter having a big impact, and you can see the confidence starting to grow. Mixing it up now, long range, at the rim, having a big impact.
And the fact that he's made 3 triples here in this second half has meant the defense stops going under as much and have to close out a bit harder on him, and that allows him to then attack, as we just saw right there.
And this is a part of why a guy like that wants to come and play for Josh King, to say, hey, keep shooting it, stay aggressive, because instead of putting the Q in the rack at 0 for 4, he keeps firing away, and now he's knocked 3 down. He's helping at the offensive end drag his team back into the game.
15 points now for Dash Daniels overall. It's a 4-point margin. It's an 8-0 run for the Phoenix right now. 93 seconds to play here. Preseason basketball. As has become tradition, the throwdown here at the State Basketball Centre, the 3rd straight year. The 4th straight year they've met each other in preseason as well. The first year was out at Casey. And the Phoenix would love to send their fans home happy with a comeback win here tonight. Travers can't quite catch it. Wilson from the left corner. And Glover skies in high for the board. And looks to push the other way for the Phoenix. Pulls up straight away. Illy May got a piece. Goodrick trying to come up with the O-board but couldn't quite control it. Glover asking the question if he was fouled. He thought there was a little bit of contact with his legs down low from Shea Illy.
Well, he's heated, Glover. Does get heated from time to time, Angus Glover, but he's hot right now. I did feel like they could have got something better offensively there. Down 4 early in the shot clock.
Illy somehow works his way through but can't get it to go, and the Phoenix back running the other way now. Schwartz kicks it back to Glover, and that one's good.
Oh my.
1-point game.
Oh my. The confidence of the young man.
Never lacking. And all of a sudden this crowd is up and about. Here's Travers. Nowhere to go. Good defense from Goodrick, and the Phoenix out running again. Glover. Daniels back to Glover. Lets it fly for the lead. He's got it.
Oh my.
He's got it. 2 straight triples for Angus Glover, and the Phoenix are back in front. 89-87. They've barely led all night. And the crowd is up and about now with defense chance. Aduro down low, working on Deshaun Schwartz. Can't connect. Wardenberg can't bring it in. This crowd's electric as Krebs is fouled. 12 seconds left. United forced to foul. Wow.
Oh my.
Wow.
Geez, a hot little minute ago, this was a 10-point lead to Melbourne United. Incredible comeback. Angus Glover's gone berserk. 23 points now for Glover. Huge couple of hits.
It was 87 to 78. It was 86 to 74. So it's a 15-1 run to the Phoenix.
Outrageous.
Wow.
And the home fans in the heartland are loving life. Now, as you mentioned, Hershey, it's preseason, a result doesn't matter, sure. Okay, but a rivalry game, crosstown, there's a little extra element to it. And you also asked, well, what does Josh King want to see from his team in this fourth quarter? Whatever it was, I think he's seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Krebs, good on the first. This second one's big. It would make it a two-possession game. And Dave Barlow will take a timeout here if this is good, and it is. So down by 4. Probably not what we saw happening.
And what's the run now?
The run is now 17 to 1.
Across.
It was 86 to 74 with. Let me just find that again. Excuse me. 86-74 with 3:05 to go. So in less than 3 minutes, it's a 17-1 run.
Wild. Angus Glover. Jeez. You just love to have Angus Glover's confidence, right? In your day-to-day, in everything you go about doing at any stage of your life. I mean, he just feels like the next one is going down at all times. And it usually is. He's been shooting the heck out of the ball across the preseason. Five
out of 12 tonight.
So another 5 made triples tonight. So 5, 6, 5 across their 3 preseason games. He's in incredible form. And it's been a fun fourth quarter to watch as he and Dash Daniels have gone to work. And collectively, the Phoenix 31 points here in the fourth after to close out a night where they just could not get anything happening offensively. They've poured 31 on the board in the final period.
Field goal percentage ticked up to 33%. It just reminds you how low it was. See what United's got. Travers, quick pull up for 3. No good. Aduro with a quick follow. 2.3 on the clock. And Josh King's going to take a timeout just to make sure about it.
Strong offensive rebound from Aduro. Hunter not in the game. Switchable lineup for the Phoenix, and Aduro punishes them on the offensive glass.
15 and 8 now for Josh Aduro.
Strong. Solid.
Yeah. Had a nice impact all night long on both ends of the floor. So 2.3 seconds left here. The Phoenix will just want to secure it and wait to get fouled.
I think the positive here for Melbourne United fans, Hershey, amongst a whole bunch of positives for sure, regardless of the result, I don't see ice on anything for Joe Ingles right now.
Yep.
I think the immediate concern was, calf or, what might have happened there, hammy.
Yeah.
He limps his way off the floor, and you would think if it was one of those types of things, he'd have the ice on. He knows how to look after himself. So
I thought it was a good sign when he didn't go straight to the locker room as well.
We tried to go out the emergency exit door.
Yeah, but I think that was probably just out of frustration. So I wonder if it was just a little bit of a cramp or something. But
it might have been a cramp.
Yeah. Standing up at the end of the bench now. But you're right, like no ice anywhere is hopefully a positive sign. Well, here's the inbound for the Phoenix. Angus Glover. They just need to secure it and wait to get fouled. United looking for a turnover.
Oh my.
Maduro did get a fingertip to it, but it will stay with the Phoenix.
Glover, such a good free throw shooter. How come he's inbounding the ball?
Clock down to 1.5. And Travers able to pick it off, but time runs out before he can shoot it, and that will be it for us, folks. The Phoenix come roaring back in the last quarter to take a 2-point win in this preseason throwdown, 91-89, behind the shooting of Angus Glover and Dash Daniels. Glover finishes with 23 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals, and a turnover right on the buzzer.
Oh, that was a wild game.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
We spoke pre-game, Tom, about how we've seen so many close ones in these preseason throwdowns, and for a lot of that one, it didn't look like it was going to be that way. Melbourne United controlling proceedings for much of the night, and up 10, more than 10. 3 minutes to go, and really should have just closed that thing out. But high energy from the Phoenix, never gave up, continued to press. Daniels was big, Glover was big, and they got themselves a home preseason win.
And whilst there might be a heated rivalry, there's also a real mutual respect between these two clubs, and these players know each other pretty well. Of course, Daniels and Krebs moving over from United to the Phoenix this off-season. But that was just a good preseason hit out. And if you like what you saw, there is still one more game here at the State Basketball Centre. If you're a Southeast Melbourne fan, this coming Thursday night, the 27th of August, they're going to take on the Cairns Taipans right back here at the State Basketball Centre. If you want tickets, you can get them right now via Access. Head to the Phoenix website for the links, for all the info about that one. And, of course, if you like what you saw here, don't forget that the Phoenix are back for the NBL regular season in late September, and they are going to relight the fire pit against Melbourne United again. Throwdown on September 24th at John Cain Arena. Mm-hmm. It is the night before the AFL Grand Final holiday, so a good one to take the kids to.
Nice.
Again, tickets for all the games at John Cain Arena. A little bit of change this year. Move from Ticketek over to Access. That's the new ticketing partner for all the games, both for United and Phoenix home games. So, again, keep an eye on the socials for all the latest updates on how to get those tickets. But that's September 24th at John Cain Arena. And, of course, if you're in Victoria, don't forget the NBL Blitz is taking place in Bendigo the week after next, September 2nd to 6th. Every team will be there, all 10 teams in action. So you can get all around that. You can get down and watch it in person. You can catch all the games live as well. Plenty more pre-season action to come for everyone.
Fun night for the fans.
Absolutely.
There was a spattering of Melbourne United fans in the building. I think they had a good night. Didn't like the end result, but enjoyed much of the evening. The home fans, the Phoenix fans in the building, those watching on the stream. Shout out to my mother-in-law, big Phoenix fan, who was watching on. I think, a great chance for everyone to see what their team might look like in the upcoming season, get an understanding of the new faces, and it went right down to the wire.
Sure did. Well, that was a lot of fun. And Liam, thank you so much for jumping back in the commentary chair for this cameo tonight. It was great to sit alongside you and call this one. And as I said, if you want to come back to another game, Thursday night back here against the Cairns Taipans, you can catch that one live streamed as well. There's plenty more preseason action. Head to nbl.com.au for all the schedules. Every game's live streamed. And I think that's probably going to do it for us here tonight.
Well called, Hershey. Fun night at the SBC. Congratulations to the Phoenix for their fourth quarter furious rally, and fun one for Melbourne United as well. Good hit out. It was extremely enjoyable watching Luke Travers do what he did over the course of the evening, and great to call with you, big fella. You're smashing it. Great work. Good night all round.
Appreciate it. Thank you to our crew behind the scenes, and that'll do it for us. 91-89. The Phoenix come from behind, win in the fourth quarter here at the State Basketball Centre. Good night.